Today, we're going to be talking about day one of rookie minicamp for the Washington Commanders. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and follow the channel as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football daily. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we are talking about the buzz around day one of rookie minicamp for the Washington Commanders. And so we're going to start with head coach Dan Quinn and what he had to say before day one of rookie minicamp. And so just paraphrasing this, if you want to check out the entire interview, head over to the Commanders YouTube page where you can see it. And so just paraphrasing some of the key things that he talked about. Number one, he talked about the standards and the philosophy for the Washington Commanders and how he wants to relay that with these rookies who are starting their NFL career with the Washington Commanders. And so we talk about it all the time with Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. They always talk about the standards. And so that is point number one. Point number two, he talks about being excited for practice. And so I'm right there with him as a fan. And so you can imagine, just a head coach now getting the chance to see, your top pick in the NFL draft, along with some players that I think are going to be key pieces this season for the Washington Commanders. And so the first time you get a chance to see them on the grass, he did talk about Antonio Williams. And so with Antonio Williams, he talks about the fact that he can play multiple spots. He talked about his versatility, his route running ability, and how that is something that he's looking forward to seeing all of those things. With Katron Allen, the running back out of Penn State, he talks about how he's going to be looking to see what his vision is like as far as just understanding, where to go when it comes down to the running game and understanding, what to do next, as defenders and stuff like that are coming down into the box. And so again, just paraphrasing that, but he talks about really looking to see what his vision is like as a runner. And he talked about him having the element of power, which I do believe that is going to get Katron Allen on the field early because of the fact that he will be able to run behind his pads and fall forward with that power. And so we'll see how things work out. But Dan Quinn did mention that. Next, he talks about Sonny Styles. And so with Sonny Styles, look, he said that he's looking forward to seeing him really getting the movements down. He talked about the fact that he is looking to put him in a lot of spots to do his thing. And he said that that's really something that they're looking to do with every player. You're just trying to get a good feel for what they can do so you can put them into the best spots. He did say that there are no limits, and he's going to let the process play out with him. Joshua Josephs, he talks about his pass rushing ability and his ability to just really get off the line of scrimmage as the ball is snapped. And, they're excited to see if they can get him to the next level in his development. And so those are some of the things that Dan Quinn talks about with the players. As far as Durante Jones, he did mention the fact that Durante Jones really with his process, the way that he organizes things and just really the clarity in which he's teaching things, he was really impressed with that. He's talking about how there is going to be a lot of competition on the football team. That's something that we've talked about before with this team is the level of competition that, they just like to have at every spot. And so they're going to have that at different positions. That's something that we're going to find out, obviously, as we start to get into OTAs, training camp and preseason and everything else. And then he really talked about, with this rookie minicamp, it's all about the onboarding. It's all about the learning. It's all about communication, connection, and then also to, just movement skills on the field. Again, just talking about, these players getting on the grass for the first time as Washington Commanders and really, just starting to, take that first step towards the real-time processing and communication under pressure. And so he talks about the example of, hey, sometimes in practices where they stress players with, hey, you get a part of the call and then the mic goes off and you have to go ahead and you have to react and respond that way. And so I love that. You always want to make your practices more difficult than the games. I feel like that's always how you get better as an athlete. And so that's just one example of Dan Quinn, talking about just the communication process and how important that's going to be. And so moving forward, what we got to hear from Sonny Styles. And so with Sonny Styles, I loved what we heard from him and Antonio Williams, which we'll talk about that in a moment. But with Sonny Styles, excited to be on the field. Felt like it was just the right fit with the Washington Commanders. And so you love that. And then he talked about the fact that he is going to just give everything he can to this team, just like he did with Ohio State University. And he was talking about really day one. It's all about going through the install. And that is something that we talked about with the rookie minicamp preview, that you're going to have the classroom work. You're going to go out, on the field, and then you hopefully are kind of getting these things to really translate as far as, what you're learning with terminology and just the type of moves that they're looking for, in your, whatever side of the ball you're playing. And so, talking about that, and just really talking about learning how to practice as a pro. And so I thought that was great insight from Sonny Styles. Next, Antonio Williams. And so with Antonio Williams, look, I loved his interview as well. And he talked about the fact that now he is here with the Washington Commanders. It's all about carrying out the vision that the team has for him. And then when just asked about where he would like to play, on the offense as far as like the wide receiver position, he prefers everything. He feels like that he can run every route. And so, I'm curious to see how this is going to play out for him. I don't think that he's just going to just always line up in the slot. I do think that the Washington Commanders plan to use him in multiple ways, just like Dan Quinn said in his opening to the rookie minicamp. And so excited to see what happens there. And also, too, he talked about wearing number 14. And so, look, that was the first number that he had worn. And so he studies Devontae Adams. He talks about him being one of the prime receivers that he studies. And so that was cool to get some insights there from him. And so also, too, moving forward with some other buzz around the Washington Commanders, we do know that all the rookies have signed. And so all the rookies that were drafted did officially sign. Sonny Styles, he had a $37.7 million contract for over 4 years, 23.9 million signing bonus. And so that was what was reported there with Sonny Styles. Again, 37.7 mil for 4 years with a 23.9 million signing bonus. Didn't see anything else as far as the other rookies, but if you go over to the Commanders' socials there, you're able to see that all those rookies did sign. And so that's a good sign. You don't have to worry about any holdouts and things like that. And so, look, I think that the key takeaway here from day one with the Washington Commanders and the rookies that did speak, it sounds like that they have confidence. And it sounds like that these players are players that I think are going to make an immediate impact. Like, I just really feel like Sonny Styles is going to make an immediate impact in year one. And I do think that Antonio Williams is set to make an impact too in year one as well. They kind of remind me of what we saw from Trey Amos last year, where it just didn't seem like he was a rookie. I get that feel just in hearing from Sonny Styles and Antonio Williams. Again, very limited. Hopefully we get a chance to hear from some of these other rookies as time goes along. But, a solid first day. It's all about just learning the installs. It's all about learning the standards and just learning how to be a pro with the Washington Commanders. And by the way, you get a chance to see what the number selections are for the Washington Commanders. And so Sonny Styles, he's going to wear 52. We just talked about 14 for Antonio Williams. Katron Allen going to wear 31. You got Joshua Josephs is going to wear number 48. Kaliak Manis is going to wear 16. And so he was the last pick there in the draft for the Washington Commanders. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking about day one of this rookie minicamp. What were you most excited to see? We'll be talking a little bit more of day two and some of the buzz here around day two and the interviews that come out of that, along with some of the other highlights and videos that we see. But in any case, let me know what you guys are thinking. And look, as we always say, go Commanders, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.